Welcome ladies and gentlemen, my name is Byronic, and on today's Star Guide, we're going to look at the concept sale of the MISC Endeavor. Finally, the ship many of you have been waiting for is on sale, but for a limited time. So the purpose of this video is to provide you, my viewers, with as much information as possible about the Endeavor to see if it's the right ship for you. I'll be covering everything from the various modules and pods to breaking down how configuring your Endeavor will work. This will probably be a long one, so sit back and enjoy. The Endeavor is, thus far, the single most modular ship we have been able to purchase to date. The entire idea of the Endeavor is to play how you want, when you want. With a multitude of pods to choose from, you can one day play the role of a field doctor, putting dead players back into the fight quicker, and the next day a simple farmer living off the fat of the land. The Endeavor itself is also a multi-stage ship, which means that the front cab can actually detach and be operated under its own power. This is no ordinary ship either. Designed with heavy armor and shielding, the Explorer cab can enter highly dangerous environments such as the corona of a star. You know, I can't believe that part of this, at least in some small part, wasn't inspired by the saucer separation of the Enterprise. Seriously, good job on that one. As a side note, the Explorer cab cannot use a jump drive, so don't try. That brings us to the first part of this video, modules. Modules are what determine the role of your Endeavor, with the ability to swap them out if you so choose. The first module I want to look at is the medical module. The medical module acts as a mobile spawn point for players and some smaller ships. When a player dies, they'll be offered a variety of respawn locations, including NPC-held landing zones. Alternatively, an Endeavor equipped with a medical module can serve the same role. Now, both of these options will cost the respawning player credits to use. However, as an Endeavor pilot, you will be able to manually set the cost yourself to compete with either NPC hospitals or other players. This creates a unique situation where Endeavor pilots can place their ship closer to the action, but charge a premium for pilots where time is money. Now, before you start worrying about random players respawning on your ship without you knowing, there is a big system being put in-game that will address just that. The ID Beacon is a concept design that will allow players offering services to broadcast that service to the rest of the local solar system. Say, for example, you are a Hornet pilot and you want to be a hired gun for some mining ship or something. You can simply enable your ID Beacon with your service offered, your price, and any other details. Other players can then browse available ID beacons and determine if the payment being offered is worth the effort. Bringing this back to the medical module, players can only respawn into an Endeavor if the pilot has activated their ID beacon. There has been some concern from the public that players will be able to hijack an Endeavor once spawned in, but I believe that this will be highly unlikely for two reasons. First, you will probably not respawn with a weapon, and second, the pilot can choose who respawns and who doesn't. Does your citizen dossier have black marks on it? If it does, tough luck. Moving on, the second module is the Organics module. These biodomes will be used to grow a multitude of plants through careful environmental control, and once harvested, will yield significant profits depending on what you grow. That's an extreme TLDR, but what actually is involved is far more complex, and I'm going to use my expert paint skills to show you. So, farming in Star Citizen is a meticulous process requiring the player to meet specific requirements for each plant. As of the publication of this video, plants will require the following to grow: soil, fertilizer, water, temperature control, and radiation. On top of that, there will be a multitude of quality tiers that need to be accounted for. For example, the bacon plant may only need basic soil, a fertilizer high in potassium, a temperate climate, a lot of water, and about 8 to 10 hours of radiation from growth lights in order to reach its full potential. A more exotic plant, however, could require high-grade soil, cooler temperatures, and a particular type of radiation to grow. As you can guess, a big part of farming will be about trial and error. There won't be a giant book of agriculture in space unless Texas A&M University is still around in the UEE. How much water you use, what type of radiation is applied, it all matters, and you won't always get it right, and that's okay. That being said, let's be real. Either from data mining or player submissions, a list of recipes will be created post-launch, so keep that in mind. The third module available is the Discovery module. Being advertised as Carl Sagan's wet dream, the Discovery module features a massive telescope array capable of tracking down comets, asteroid fields rich in valuable ore, derelict ships worth a fortune to a salvager, primordial black holes, and much, much more. The question is, how exactly do you do this? The process of finding treasures in space begins by selecting a general region of space and slowly scanning that area for anomalies. After you scan, various objects may present themselves in abstract forms such as motion against a static background, radiation signatures, twinkling of light, and so forth. So once you've decided to investigate one of those anomalies further, you can then increase the magnification of the telescope to determine what exactly is hidden behind those abstract forms. Now, just because you're zoomed in on an object doesn't mean that you can be sure what it is. In some cases, you will have to dispatch long-range probes in order to obtain 100% certainty what it is. Once a positive identification has been made, a point of interest blip representing the discovery will show up on your player's map, which can then be shared or sold to other players or an information broker. This is incredibly exciting. A lot of people were curious how explorers could make money, and well, here it is. By identifying an anomaly, the game itself will recognize your discovery and provide you with a tangible consumer item, which then can be sold to NPC information brokers or shared or also sold to other players. For example, Eris, the executive producer of Imperial News Network, bought a complete set Endeavor, which of course comes with the discovery modules and the telescopes and everything. Now, while he hasn't agreed to it just yet, I plan on having him sell me, or maybe just give me the location of lucrative salvage POIs so that my reclaimer can swoop in and chop shot the shit out of those derelicts. Come on, bro. You know you want to. The fourth available module I want to go over in some detail is the Super Collider. The ring-shaped Super Collider is sadly not a Stargate that will let us travel to distant planets. No, it is in fact an elaborate overclocking facility that will allow players to tweak and overclock starship components. The value of this is far more significant than some people might realize. Now, imagine if you have two Banu merchantmen with identical equipment and both ready to run a blockade with illegally harvested bacon plants. The only difference between the two is that Banu number one overclock their engines for additional speed and shield for higher performance. Now, only Banu 1 is getting through that blockade, and I'm fairly certain that the faster and more protected one has an advantage. Before I move on away from modules, I want to mention a few additional modules that are secondary or tertiary to the role of your Endeavor. There is the crew and fuel module, which, as you might have guessed, both increase the range of your ship and offer additional crew facilities. Next, we have the general research and general science pods. The general research pod processes information for a variety of scientific pursuits, as well as producing, quote, cutting-edge compounds. Now, I'm unsure what cutting-edge compounds actually means, but right after it, it says, quote, note, the GRP is intended for legal experimentation as authorized by the UEE only. This leads me to believe that this is in fact the narcotics production module that I really wanted, so if you want to get your Heisenberg on, that's your ticket. Now, the general science pod, on the other hand, works hand in hand with both the GRP and the discovery module. It's able to take the information discovered and turn them into valuable data for sale or trade. Think of it as a scientific processing plant. Last but not least, we have the landing bay. Used in tandem with the medical module, the landing bay can act as a shuttle service for respawn players or as a loading dock for scientific materials. In a recent quote from Ben Lesnick, the landing bay is approximately 2 cutlasses wide, giving you a rough idea on the actual size of the module. As a very brief side note, there are future module plans included, but not limited to a defense module. Enjoy your pocket carriers, you ass pirates. So we've covered the roles and available modules for the Endeavor. Now, a big question people have been asking is, what in the heck are these numbers and what do they do, and how do I outfit my Endeavor accordingly? Customizing your Endeavor is a lot easier than some people realize, so let's check it out. Each module for the Endeavor has a dimension of 2x1 or 2x2. The first number in the string determines the width, while the second number determines the length. Thanks to the user Calmore of Reddit, who produced this image, you can get a rough idea on how this works in application. Say you want to add a biodome to your Endeavor. As you can see, the biodome is 2x1, meaning that this one module will have 2 pods along the width and is a length of 1. Your biodome has now taken up 1 of 3 available slots along the length of the ship. Now, say you also wanted to insert a super collider for overclocking the shit out of some weapons. That would be 2x2. So after adding a 2x1 biodome and a 2x2 super collider, you've used up all 3 effective slots on your ship. To give you an example using one of the pre-made Endeavor options, the Discovery class ship comes with 3 modules: the General Science, the Research Lab, and a Service Equipment and Crew module. All 3 of these modules are 2x1, meaning that each module has 2 pods on both sides and takes up 1 slot along the length, meaning that you can fit all 3. As you can see, the modularity of the Endeavor is equal to none. Do you want to discover anomalies and process that data into consumer units while also being able to fly for extended periods of time? Buy the telescope array, general science pod, and additional fuel option. Would you rather support your organization in contested areas with quick medical support? Buy the medical bay and landing bay. The choice is yours. Now, do me a favor, a really quick favor though, and write down in the comments below what configuration you would run with an Endeavor. This brings me to the final part of the video, the prices. The short and quick of it is that you can either spend a lot of money or you can spend a lot of money. The way that the Endeavor is being sold is that you can 1. Buy a pre-made Endeavor with modules already set up, or 2. You can buy the base Endeavor and then pick and choose which modules you want and buy those as well. As for option 1, there are 4 pre-made ships available to you. Number 1 is the Discovery class, which comes in at $425 US. This variation is focused on scientific research and additional crew capabilities. Number 2 is the Hope class floating hospital. At $450, this ship offers a full medical bay and landing pad. Number 3 is the Olympic class, coming in at $500 US. With this setup, you have 2 biodomes. Now, the strange part about the Olympic class variation is that those 2 biodomes are both 2x1s, meaning that you actually still have room for 1 slot of your choosing. And now, I'm not exactly sure why CIG didn't include a 3rd pod, considering that all the other pre-built options also have one, and that you could easily throw in a crew or fuel pod, but I digress. The last and final pre-built option is the Master Set. The Master Set is the big kahuna in both price and quantity. Outfitted with a single module of every single available module, this ship comes in at a cool $900 US. Oh my god. This is the do-all, be-all of the Endeavor, offering everything from the science labs and super colliders to the telescope array and medical bay. The only downside to this variation, besides the price, is if you want to specialize your ship in, say, agriculture, you may consider buying an additional biodome. In all honesty, if you're dropping $900 on this ship, I'm pretty sure the extra cost of a second module isn't going to hurt your bank too much. Now, those are all the pre-built variations of the Endeavor. There is no reason why you should buy one of those if you're interested in custom configurations. If you are interested in customizing your ship, all you need to do is purchase the base Endeavor for $350 US. Head on over to the pod catalog and choose from the various available options. Now, please, make sure what you are selecting fits on your ship. While the biggest issue for some may be the general sizing issues that I went over earlier, which can be solved by looking at Calmore's diagram, the Endeavor itself has a limit on various modules. For example, there is a limit of 2 sets of biodomes per ship, or a limit of 1 telescope array per ship. Do your research, folks. All information to help you browse the module catalog or Calmore's diagram can be found in the description below. Well, that about wraps it up, guys. We've gone over the various roles and modules the ship offers, as well as how to customize your loadout. Now, I think that you can now make an informed decision on whether or not the Endeavor is right for you. Now, I'm gonna let you know a little secret, all right? I, Byronic, will not be buying the Endeavor, even though I've gone on and on about it in 2 other videos and wholeheartedly agree that this is the single best ship CIG has come out with to date. I'm still not going to do it, and here's why. My girlfriend and I have spent the last month and change talking about buying a puppy, and those little shits can be expensive as fuck, and fixing them, getting vaccines, microchips, and hundreds of dollars in other crap. We're currently considering a corgi, a miniature schnauzer, or a Shiba Inu, but we're still kind of undecided. I know that this has nothing to do with Star Citizen, but I don't care. Put in the comments below what dog you like most and tell me why. Alright guys, that's it for today. I hope you liked this video. If you did, hit that subscribe button. My name is Byronic, and that's it. Hey guys, thanks for watching my video. If you'd like to see more Star Citizen content, head over to imperialnews.network. They've got news, recaps, lore, and a lot more. See you next time.